Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joining me is Gameonicist, aka Janet Garcia.
Yo, what's good?
Janet, how's it going?
It's going. I ran for the first time in literally a month yesterday, and I did a little too much. So I'm actually super sore today, which is shocking because I only ran for like, I think 15 minutes, but I did like, I ran on a track. So I did it like chill, and then I did like 10K pace, 5K pace, like break, 5K pace, whatever. For like I did one lap like chill, and then I did one with like sprints, and then it was on a, like I said, it was on a track, so there was like a little stadium, like the little risers or whatever. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go up and down the stairs, and it's gonna be like super cool and a good workout and really fun. And it was those things, but then I like last night, like my calves just got like tighter and tighter, and I woke up today and they're like all knotted.
No. Is that normal for you to take month-long breaks?
No, I haven't. This is the least I've ran probably since living in California, because I used to take pretty much like a month-long break, or I ran very, very infrequently when I was in Chicago in the winter. Like I did do some winter runs, and I've done winter training, but generally I either try to avoid it or I inadvertently avoid it just by being like, I can't be bothered to put all these layers on and run it on the ice and all that. But yeah, so longest break in a while. I've been kind of like slowly returning and figuring out what I'm doing with the sport after I finished my marathon, which shout out to finishing the marathon. I feel like we don't talk about that enough on here. Also, me finishing the marathon. I'm gonna throw that out there.
You did finish a marathon,
right?
How
I did run a fucking marathon
because we talked about it the week you did.
I feel like
on like all the shows.
I feel like at least like we got to think of what's something else that we like beat to death, and it should be around there.
You're the roller skate, roller skating.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Running. Janet Garcia.
I just feel like we could do more with it. I did enjoy you guys talking about it, though, on the show, and I got a big kick out of the also like the You Don't Know Janet show that Bear did at the end of one of the episodes. But yeah.
Yeah, and also me and Greg trying to see if we can also run a marathon.
Oh yeah, which also like I do have thoughts on that. I think you could do it if you wanted to within 2 years.
2 years. Okay, that's fair. That's a fair timeline.
Yeah, like you'd have to really, really like focus though. Like that'd have to be like your plan from the start of that process.
I will say I also like you, right? I am an athletic beast, and so I was doing a lot of Ring Fit adventure during the month of
how's
May.
that going? How's that going?
I took a long break. I took about a month break actually.
I've been playing that game since it came out, and I've still not beaten it. So
are you serious?
Yeah. It's so long. It is so long, and you gotta work out, and that's like
the motivator for me. The fact that like
hard.
I put it down for a little bit because like me and Roger did our month-long challenge, which we still have to make the video for. We've written the script. It's just us editing the script and then actually recording the video that is taking us all the time. But like that month ended, and then immediately I stopped doing Ring Fit because I went to LA for Summer Game Fest stuff, and then I came back, and then I was just lazy. I was just lazy, and I just didn't pick it back up, and I didn't feel the obligation anymore because like Roger had stopped doing it, and I didn't have like that buddy there. But I picked it back up last week. Yeah, last week on one of my days off, I picked it back up, and felt great doing it, but then the day after, I felt sore as if it was my first day doing Ring Fit again, and I was like, god damn it, this is what happens. Like, this
I gotta rebuild the base. There are 23 worlds in that game, and it's very much an RPG where there's a lot of side content you could do. So like, it takes a long time. It's a great game. It is like one of the best things on there.
The fact that I'm on world, I want to say like world 7 or world 8, and I can see the progression, and I know that if I do let's say every weekday for the next couple months, I could probably get there. I could probably beat the game.
Right, but that's so much That's like such an intense commitment, and it's like I want to do other things sometimes. Also, not gonna lie, the act of setting it up is a little discouraging. It's a very easy setup, so it's not to say it's hard at all, but just like, all right, let's put the mat down, and then Ring's like, hi, and I'm like, I don't know, and he's like, you don't gotta stretch if you want to, and I'm like, yeah, I should probably stretch though. And then they're
stretching gets you the XP. You gotta stretch.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. It's a whole process.
I don't ever do the
cooldown.
Yeah, the cooldown stretch, because I don't think that gets you XP.
Really?
I don't think so. So I'm like, I'm not doing it unless it gets me XP.
And I love that it's such a well-designed game. If you guys do ever do like a longer like podcast or something on it, like let me know. It's such a fantastic game that I don't think it's enough praise, that a lot of people also probably, no offense, didn't see the ways that it grows as a game, because again, you have to like work out a lot to like get to those parts where you're mixing and matching.
Hard to get that game? Or
no, it was really easy.
I don't think so. I think it's pretty much
if you go on Amazon right now, I'm sure it'll be available. It's like $80 for the game and the Ring Fit equipment. And so it's a steep price, but it's readily available nowadays, as opposed to the beginning of pandemic, where it was impossible to get.
It's awesome. I recommend that game to everybody. I think it is so fun. And people always ask, like, is it good if I have never worked out? The answer is yes. Is it good if I like work out all the time? The answer is still yes. I think it does a great job of scaling the difficulty, having different moves like that, target different like parts of the body, or different weaknesses you may have, and then it I just think it's really brilliantly designed. Like, I have very little notes to even give that game. Highly underrated. But
talking about the cooldown, right, in the XP situation, Brian McBrien in chat says it gives your body XP. Bless. Here's the thing, Brian. At this point, I'm playing more for the game than I am for my own personal health. The game is just a fun ass video game, and I like progression in that game. And of course, I want to be healthy. I want to be active. That is maybe at this point 30% of why I'm playing Ring Fit. 70% of the reason I'm playing is to actually get further in the game, and to get further and also put in more hours, because you can see what other people are doing. And I don't want my friends list to think that I'm lazy and that I'm not keeping up with it. It's that peer pressure. Also, speaking of physical activity and being a physical beast, Jana, you ever have like those drunken hangouts with friends where you commit to things where you're probably not going to follow up on?
I mean, I do that sober. That's like every podcast we do, right? We're like, oh yeah, we're going to play this. Yeah, I'm going to get back to it.
I'm down with that with Days Gone, and maybe the what's the game? The Mario and Rabbids.
The Year is Young. Really? You haven't played Mario Rabbids? It's so good. But now just wait for the next one. You know what I mean?
That's at that point. Wait for the next one.
What have you committed to that you're not going to do?
So here's the thing. I think there's a good chance that this does happen. I was out on Friday night. I was out Friday night with friends, right? We're drinking. Maybe we're drinking a lot. And maybe I don't remember the bulk of this conversation, right? But it was one of those ones where one of my friends hit me up on Monday. They texted me and they were like, yo, I don't remember much from Friday, but I remember us talking about getting into a fun sport. Do you want to maybe sign up for kickball or something? And I read that text. I was like, I don't recall that conversation whatsoever, but yes. And then I also suggested dodgeball as an idea, because they do have dodgeball leagues and also kickball leagues and like softball leagues and stuff that you can get into. And it seems like those plans are in motion. And if so, like that will be my first step toward getting to that marathon level of like physical activity, right? Like I just need something to get me started, and then marathon it'll be an easy deal. And I think kickball might be the thing, either kickball or dodgeball.
I'm gonna let you know right now, that's not gonna get you there. I mean, it will get you more fit, but like being fit only helps like a little bit. Like I knew someone that was like very fit, and they were like, I want to run the marathon, and they were able to do it like within the year, but also like they had a lot of like problems when they did their marathon. They did finish and they didn't go to the hospital or anything, but like, they like cramped up. Like it was a really bad race for them. So there's that. So like, yeah, I mean, it's apples and oranges. I mean, I don't think you need a base.
If I can run those bases, I can.
You don't need a base level of fitness in running to necessarily run the marathon. Like it's a totally different thing. That's like saying, I want to be able to weightlift more before I get into roller skating. Like weightlifting could help me with roller skating because it would strengthen my legs and my core and stuff. Like there is benefits, but it's not. And maybe that could be a good part of my like skating regimen to incorporate weight training, but like they're not a one-to-one, especially because yeah, it's just a whole different thing. Anyway, if you ever want a podcast about running, I got a lot of information that I don't do a lot with, other than
we can make that episode of
two people in my house.
The Janet show featuring Blessing. It'll be all about running.
I know that. Honestly, that show would be really fun because it'd be a show about absolutely nothing.
Which is
this isn't that. This isn't this though. We have a show about something today.
We have a show about something, so let's talk about those somethings. Somethings like PS Plus Extra's first big update, Bayonetta 3's release date, and more, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kinda Funny Games Daily. Remember, you can use Epic Creator Code Kinda Funny on all Epic Store and Epic in-game purchases like Rocket League and Fortnite to help support the channel. To be a part of the show, at the patreon.com/kindafunnygames, where bronze members or above get to write in, and silver members or above get the show ad-free with the exclusive daily post show. Housekeeping for you, a new Kinda Funny Gamescast is up, and it's our Escape Academy review. We talk about that, Sonic Origins, Greg's time with the Steam Deck, and a whole lot more. That is on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and on podcast services around the globe. And then shout out to Prime Gaming for sponsoring our streams. To celebrate Prime Day, you can start freeloading over 30 games with Prime Gaming for Prime Day 2022. And then you'll also be able to claim additional games on Prime Day. That's July 12th and July 13th, which will include AAA titles like Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Grid Legends, Need for Speed Heat, and Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, and Star Wars Republic Commando. So check out the link in the description to start freeloading games now. And then come party with Greg, Joey, SnowBikeMike, and Xbox this Friday in LA. We're taking over the Fonda Theater in Hollywood for the As Dusk Falls launch event, and you have to be there. You can RSVP now at kindafunny.com/Xbox. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Fargo Brady, Gordon McGuire, and Al Tribesman. Today we're brought to you by ExpressVPN, MeUndies, and Athletic Greens, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 8 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
And I'm glad to have you here with me, Janet, because of course, me and you are the PS I Love You duo. Of course, that podcast only has 2 members. We don't talk about the third one. This is me and you, right? For PS I Love Wednesdays. We're starting with the PlayStation story. Story number 1, PlayStation Plus's extra and premium July lineup have been revealed. This comes from Owen S. Good at Polygon. The first monthly update for the new PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium service tiers delivers 5 Assassin's Creed titles along with Marvel's Avengers, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and the previously confirmed cyberpunk platform puzzler Stray. The new additions available beginning July 19th the new additions are available beginning July 19th to PlayStation Plus Extra subscribers. The list looks like this. All right, you're getting Stray for PS4 and PS5, Marvel's Avengers, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade and Episode Intermission for PS5, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Assassin's Creed Unity, Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered, Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry, Assassin's Creed The Ezio Collection, Saints Row 4 Re-Elected, Saints Row Gat Out of Hell, Spirit of the North Enhanced Edition for PS5, Ice Age, Scrat's Nutty Adventure, Jumanji the Video Game, Paw Patrol on a Roll, Ready Set Heroes, and then for PlayStation Plus Premium subscribers, you get access to those games as well as 2 PSP titles, including No Heroes Allowed and Loco Roco Midnight Carnival. Janet, me and you, for a while now, I've been talking about PlayStation Plus Premium, PlayStation Plus Extra. Is it good? Is it not good? Now we have the first big post-launch drop for it. Is it good enough?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's one of those things where it's tough because they're hitting like so many tiers and so many different themes and then striking so many deals. Like, I don't expect it to knock it out of the park every month. But I mean, I think Stray is the big get here. But again, like, I feel like we had and would have had that in the previous iterations of like just PS Plus, like the base PS Plus. So that doesn't feel as exciting of a get in the context of giving me faith in the service. It just feels more like, oh, this is a good get for PlayStation, you know, and their offerings. And it's kind of not totally out of left fields because I think they've done a pretty solid job, especially in the PS5 era, of striking these, of kind of establishing themselves as having strong indie deals through PS Plus, at least on occasion. Like, they're going to bring out a day and date thing, and it's going to be kind of a little bit of a whatever one their flagship indie games is. So I think that's kind of par for the course. Still very exciting, and definitely I think the most among the most exciting things in there. I guess the Intergrade's also a good get, but you need the base game though to have that, right? No, you don't.
Intergrade is it's basically the PS5 version of it.
Okay. Cool. So that's another strong one. There's some strong stuff in here, but I think especially as you start to move down and, you know, we get to the Paw Patrols and the Ice Age, and even the
Ice Ages and the Jumanjis.
I think Spirit of the North too. Like, I feel like that wasn't like that well received, but I don't remember. I might be mixing it up with a different game. Loco Roco's interesting because I love Loco Roco, but I don't I don't know how Midnight Carnival fares against the other Loco Roco games, but I'm gonna hit up Loco Roco Midnight Carnival. Like, Loco Roco is a fun IP. Let me know in the chat if this is like the whack Loco Roco or something.
I think it was like a Loco Roco spinoff, like downloadable title on the PSP, which cool, right? I forget. Also for kindafunny.com/wrong. Let me know if the other Loco Rocos are already on there, because I forget already what PSP games are available. But my thing with those two, right? Like, I'm not a person that really cares too much about Loco Roco, even though I know there's nothing else there for it. And then also No Heroes Allowed is not one that blows me away.
Yeah, wait, is it because you've played Loco Roco and you're like, I don't want a Loco Roco, or is it because like you just saw Loco Roco and you were like, fuck this circle? Like, what's up with what's the Loco Roco? I don't
care about it. Like, and here's the thing, have
you tried it though, or you saw it and you're like, it's not for me?
I saw it and it's not for me. And
oh, it's so fun. That's so sad. Why do you hate fun? It's way different than Patapon.
Is it better than Patapon?
Oh, I like it more than Patapon. I played
and I was like, I'm gonna let Greg Miller have this one.
I'm gonna throw this out there, and I kind of told Greg this, but I kind of like slipped it under the radar, like, and I buried the lead there. I did not enjoy my time with Patapon, not because it's a bad game, but it was just too intense. I felt like I was practicing the piano playing it. I was like, I didn't have fun doing that. But no, Loco Roco is a totally different thing. I mean, the only similarity to Patapon is that it's another indie game that's liked. But yeah, it's like a game where you play as a little circle and you like absorb stuff and you can like become bigger and smaller and like fit through. Like, it's kind of like a light, like a very light. I mean, it has the element in terms of the absorption and the shrinking, but it's not like you're just constantly gathering moss. It's like a little bit of like a light platformer. It's very cute. It's like a great game. It's a little guy. It's fun.
Okay. In that case, I won't write off Loco Roco. I'm not saying I'm gonna give it a chance by any means, but I won't write it off.
You should, but then Midnight Carnival. Let me know if that's a good entry point. I've only played Loco Roco 2. Also, wait, do you have a PSP? No, you don't, right? You only have a Vita?
I have a Vita, yeah.
Because I have a copy.
PSP games on Vita, right?
Yeah, but wait, a PSP game on, well, I have a copy of Loco Roco 2 on the PSP. I have 2 Loco Roco 2s, so I was going to give you my other Loco Roco 2, but anyway, what do you think of this besides the Loco Roco stuff?
Well, here's the thing, right? I look at those PSP games, and even though neither of them blow me away, I do like the fact that they're adding in additional PlayStation Plus premium games. That was one of my big questions of, are you going to expand this catalog? Because as it stands now, the premium catalog, not that great, in my opinion. I like the extra catalog. I think the extra catalog is where this new version of PlayStation Plus really stands strong. But when it comes to the premium stuff, it does feel like slim pickings, especially for the PSP titles. You have 2 copies of Loco Roco 2?
Yeah, I have 2 copies of Loco Roco 2, because get this, I forgot I bought one of them. Like, I thought I had Loco Roco. So when I saw Loco Roco 2 in the game store, I'm like, great, I love Loco Roco. And then I got home and I was like, oh, I've been playing Loco Roco 2 this whole time. So
that's really
now
funny.
I just have 2 copies of Loco Roco 2. So there you go.
That's excessive, but I also love it. But yeah, like, it
was an accident. It's a very cheap game. It was $6.
Gives me oh, okay, well, that's a good price. Right? This gives me hope that they're gonna continue to add more premium titles, and it makes me believe the idea that they could add in more PS2 titles and more PS3 and PS1 stuff, right? Like, I look at on Twitter, right? The homie Nibel tweeted out this news, but then below it, he mentioned that for some reason the Italy PlayStation Plus premium subscribers get access to Dino Crisis, Soul Calibur, Broken Destiny, and Ridge Racer 2. Right, and he tweeted the screenshot of their PlayStation blog post, and then he responds under it and says, "Update: the Italian PlayStation blog has been changed. No more Dino Crisis, RR2, or Soul Calibur." Which, that those were included in there for some reason. I wouldn't be doubtful if that was oh shoot, no, these are actually for the next month. These weren't supposed to be included in this blog post. But that does put me in the mind state of, oh, okay, cool. They're really thinking about how to expand this library beyond what it is. And I think that's exciting in the way that if on a given month they are like, hey, on PS2, we're putting in Kingdom Hearts, or we're putting in Blocky Spiral of the Dragon, or we're putting in, these classic games that you still want and expect from the platform, right? Metal Gear Solid, the original, like Final Fantasy 7, the original, like those types of titles. I think that could be really promising for the service. And so I think for the premium, that's at least there. And for extra, I do think this is a pretty good drop. The Stray, I think is huge. And you mentioned that on any other given month, that probably would have been a PlayStation Plus essential inclusion. That said, this month for PlayStation Plus Essential, we did get Arcadegeddon, which is a new title for it, as well as I believe Crash 4 was this month, and then like Man of Medan was in there as well. Like that's a pretty good PlayStation Plus month to then also get Stray in extra, and then also games like Marvel's Avengers to the Greg Millers out there, and Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which I think is huge. I think aside from Stray, that's probably the biggest inclusion this month for PlayStation Plus Extra. And with that, it's great. Again, all those Assassin's Creed games, Saints Row being in there, and then like the handful of games that feel like kind of, we're just gonna throw these in, the Jumanjis and Ice Ages of the world. I think those are to be expected, but for the bigger games that are in there, I think it's a pretty good selection.
Do you think that, would you be satisfied with this pedigree going forward? Does it need to be better? Do you expect it to dip down? Like, what are your, now that we kind of have the baseline of what we might be getting here, like, what if I said this is the rest of our year, like this kind of level of stuff, like, what are your feelings? Where are you at?
That's a really good question. With that, if you're telling me that I'm going to get, let's say, a day one really cool, let's say smaller title, like a Stray level title every month, along with, let's say, a big AAA that was like that came out maybe a year ago, right? When in the case of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, something of that level, and then also a Marvel's Avengers. Hey, this has been out for a little bit, but it is AAA, and it is new enough that like some people might get excited, some people might be like, oh, I already played this, it's whatever, and then like a handful of other AAA stuff. I think that I think I'd be down with that cadence. I'm down with some months being a bit bigger than that, and then some months being maybe not as strong as that. But I do think that this is a good set the tone midpoint for it. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's not necessarily blowing my mind like this offering, but I think it's also important to keep in mind that it's always more exciting when it's also something that is new for you. And like Final Fantasy VII Remake, I already had that game, but for people who didn't, that's a very, very strong get. Stray, of course, we're all looking forward to. So yeah, I mean, I think it's never going to be 12 games that like we've all had on our wish list, because just the idea of it being that much of like a hodgepodge and like all at once is kind of extreme. I think also most of us lean a little bit more on like the modern stuff for like what's going to be most exciting. So even though there's some like fantastic Assassin's Creed titles in here, allegedly, that's not going to be as like, that's more of like it's an important thing to have, but it's not as an exciting of a sell. But I think when we look back at the library, if they continue a cadence at this level, we'll be like, hey, this has really grown over these last 6 months. And we can point to, whatever titles maybe speak to us personally as evidence of here's the kind of value that we're getting from this service. So
yeah,
I'd say hopefully they keep up about this cadence. I think it's kind of what's expected. Yeah, I think it'll be more exciting randomly at a given month, and it'll be exciting looking back on it more so than, every month we're going to be guaranteed to like have our, mind blown about it. I think it also depends on how early they announce this stuff. Like I know with comparing it to Game Pass, like a lot of times I know ahead of time, like, oh, this is coming to Game Pass though. So when I get the announcements of like what's dropping on Game Pass, it's a little bit more new information, but some of it is like, oh yeah, well, we know this is coming because like that was part of, the announcement. So I think probably one of the best wins will be the closer they can get to announcing some titles as like, hey, this is going to be a PS Plus, PS Plus title or something like that. Will kind of create a more positive conversation around this, and also put less pressure on these blog posts because we won't have as much anticipation weighted on it.
Yeah, and I want to throw in a couple of caveats in there too, right? Like I think this PlayStation Plus Extra cadence / the tier of these games is good as long as PS Plus, the base subscription, right? PS Plus Essential stays this strong. If it dips in the way that Xbox games with gold has dipped as Game Pass has come to prominence, then I'm like, cool, beef up Extra then. I don't want that to happen because PS Plus has been so good in the last few years. But if that happens, then like they really got to beef this thing up. If we're getting bangers from the Essential side and the Extra side, then I think this cadence is good. That said, premium wise, I do want more.
Yes.
They're only dropping 2 PSP games, and these are 2. I wouldn't put these as high tier PSP games. I would like, hey, here's 2 PSP games, 2 PS1 games, 2 PS2 games a month, and 2 PS3 games, right? If you can give me those 8 games every month, and maybe some of them are bangers, maybe some of them are whatever, then I think that is more exciting. It just being, here's 2 random PSP games that were dropped for premium is not exciting.
I will say Loco Roco 2's Metacritic is an 85 and Midnight Carnival only has 73. I don't know if that's more of a commentary on how the industry has shifted over time or like if it's not as good. I don't know, but I'll let you know how.
Are you gonna go play?
You know what? I think I might fuck around and play some Midnight Carnival.
Love you PlayStation pick.
Oh, I have something else for that, so I can't. I haven't tried.
Like,
I haven't tried 4.
You got time. This comes next week.
Oh, next week? Oh yeah, probably. I don't think there's anything else I'd be playing, but I have to think about that more. Maybe there is.
I mean, there's a lot of games about to come out. Yes, I mean, well, I guess Stray.
What am I playing? I'm dipping into Midnight Carnival.
Stray is literally coming out that same day, and I'll love it.
It sounds fun though. Loco Roco good. Carnival's good. Midnight also good.
All 3 of those things.
3 for 3. Are you
3
kidding?
for 3. Speaking of the number 3, story number 2, Bayonetta 3 gets a release date. This comes from Ryan Dinsdale at IGN. Nintendo has finally revealed the release date for the long-awaited Bayonetta 3, announcing it'll arrive on October 28th for Nintendo Switch. Brand new gameplay revealed in a new trailer shows off one of Bayonetta's transformations and plenty of the fast-paced fighting the series is known for. Clips from several cutscenes also feature revealing new characters and plot points fans can expect to see in Bayonetta 3. Alongside the October 28th release date announcement, developer Platinum Games has revealed that a family-friendly mode will be available in Bayonetta 3. The series is known for being a little risque, but as Platinum tweeted, the Naive Angel mode will make some slightly explicit scenes a bit more appropriate for all ages. The post included a demonstration video, but it'll basically just cover up Bayonetta with more clothes. And we do have a video of the Naive Angel mode, if you're able to bring it up, Kevin. It's the second leak in the doc, where they basically show the comparison of, all right, if your parents walk in the room, you got a Bayonetta who's just slightly more clothed. Like, it's like a larger bra that she has on that's covering a little bit more area.
I feel like we needed that for a lot of games growing up because I remember just like
1000%.
switching to a random channel when I'm like playing Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, I remember, it was probably WWE, honestly, that I was playing. It was SmackDown vs. Raw, and they would have these unlockable loading screens for at the time they called them the Divas, but like the women's wrestlers.
Really quick, this Naive versus not, like, it's like, when you said like she'd have more clothes on, I imagine like, oh, she has some clothes on, and then they added more clothes. This is like, she was naked. This was a naked woman, and now it's not a naked woman. So that's like, the jump there was a lot more extreme than I was expecting.
I could have really used this growing up. Like, I'm not gonna lie. There are times where
my
mom would take a glance at my TV every now and then. I'm like, listen, I can't control this. All
the
right?
worst would be like, and I didn't deal with a lot of this because I actually, I've been playing like, M for Mature games since I was like pretty young. There was definitely a little bit of resistance on buying me games like that, but it wasn't so extreme that there was I never wanted a game and then like I could not play it because of the rating, but there was hesitancy with a lot of the media I consumed. And I remember like my parents who like don't know anything about games being like kind of just judging it by like maybe the box art and being like, I don't know about this. And I'm like, oh, it's fine. And then like, well, let me watch a couple minutes of this. And it's like, maybe not, But yeah, I mean, shout to that. That's kind of it's an interesting thing to add in. I mean, obviously it's still the kind of game it is, but I don't know. I guess if you care, right? If your kid is unaware enough to not know you toggled this on, but aware enough to be able to play Bayonetta 3, if you fit
I think it works
like, I don't know.
in the direction too of if you're a parent and you have kids around, if you have like an 8-year-old kid and you don't want Bayonetta to be naked in front of them, you get to toggle it on and do it that way.
Right. It's like, for if people that can get like secondhand nudity.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I have friends that that have kids that they talk about how they can't play Grand Theft Auto around them because they're scared of they don't want to show them all the violence there. So having options like this,
them to see who they really are. You got to slow roll that.
Having options like this, I think, is good for those parents and then also good for the kids that don't want to get in trouble playing this game.
Secondhand nudity, the silent killer. Missing link in the chat.
Are you excited for Bayonetta 3?
Yeah, I've actually not really dipped into the Bayonetta games, but highly critically acclaimed. I think they definitely fill to a gap for Nintendo. I think when we think of Nintendo and their strongest franchises, it is a lot of platformer, it's a lot of adventure games, and granted, some of the best games of all time. So shout to that. Not a problem, but I think it always is beneficial for companies to have as many different boxes checked as possible, and I think Bayonetta definitely does that for Nintendo. So yeah, I'm excited to check this out and dip into it when it comes out, and I'm glad that it has a date, and that date feels really soon as well. In the sense that, like, I think when we first caught wind of the game, it's like, okay, well, when's this coming out? And then even with getting more information, I think there has been a lot of trepidation, is that the right word, about whether or not there's gonna, we're gonna get a date, or if it's gonna get delayed or whatever. So yeah, October 28th. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. What about you? Do you have a history with Bayonetta?
I actually don't have a history with Bayonetta, but I do love Platinum games, and I've been looking for a reason to get into Bayonetta. Like Bayonetta 2, I remember reading reviews and watching trailers and being like, oh, this looks so cool. I think GameSpot at the time gave it a 10 out of 10, and I was blown away by that. And the more I would listen to people on podcasts and watch YouTube videos of people talking about the game, Bayonetta 2 sounded like such a game for me. But if you remember, that came out as a Wii U exclusive, and I didn't have a Wii U, and none of my friends had a Wii U.
You didn't have a Wii U. You never played the Wind Waker HD, the best way to play Wind Waker.
I didn't get to play Wind Waker. I've actually not played Wind Waker.
Oh my god, I mean, I don't know if you want to do some of your crimes or something and see if you can get that thing running on your Steam Deck.
No, I'm not going to do that, because I think at some point it has to come to Switch. It has got to come to Switch. They're going to release the HD version.
I mean, I don't know. I hope so.
Man. I hope so. But
I think if it comes to Switch, they're not going to release the HD version just as a fuck you. It's like, good luck collecting all the shards or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah, because that was the big change, where it was like they like not only made it look better, but they made parts of that game less annoying. And that's why no one wants to go back to the GameCube version of that game. But
yeah,
anyway.
But like Bayonetta, the more I see of it, the more I'm like, this is a game for me. I watched the new trailer that dropped this morning, and that game just looks bonkers, man. Like the action, the characters, the dialogue, all of it is over the top in the way that I like from Platinum. And when it comes to good Platinum action games, those hit really well for me. I really dug my time playing Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance earlier this year on stream. It was one of those ones where I was like, why didn't I not play this sooner? This is such a fun game, and the story is so over the top. And of course, like, I'm such a big fan of Nier Automata and games like Astral Chain. Platinum, they're that kind of developer that knows what they're good at, and they excel at it when they lean fully into what they are. It reminds me of what we've talked about before with Supermassive and how good they are making horror games, right? And developers that have that kind of specialization. When it comes to character action, Platinum are some of the best to do it, and Bayonetta seems to be one of the core ones in their catalog where they get to really flex that muscle. And so yeah, I'm hyped for this when it comes out. I think this is going to be good for filling out the game release slate in the fall, because as we go, it seems like October is getting more and more filled with games, and the fall is looking a little bit more exciting. And Janet, speaking of the fall lineup of games, JakeBakesCakes writes in and says to patreon.com, just Kinda Funny Games, just like you can, and says, good morning, Blanet Garcioye. Everyone's favorite hot witch is back. Bayonetta 3 is officially coming on October 28th. That summer Nintendo Direct is increasingly seeming ... unlikely. Do either of you think we'll get an official Nintendo Direct, mini or normal, at any point this year, or will we get the Metroid Prime remaster announced in a good old tweet? Thanks for all you do, and keep up the good vibes. Janet, Nintendo's fall seems like it's starting to fill up, right? We got Pokemon, we now have Bayonetta, Splatoon 3 is around the corner. Do you think that there's a lot more slated for the fall, and do you expect another Nintendo Direct?
A lot more is a little bit dramatic of a phrase. I don't know if I'd say there's a lot more slated for the fall, but I'm gonna say we're getting another Direct, just because I feel like we get Directs all the time, to be honest. Like, I think we're either having a Direct or saying, okay, when's the next one? Any second. And I think we'll get one, just because I'd be surprised if they went that long without it. I believe there's also when does Mario plus Rabbids come out? Is that October as well? Ooh. Is that November? That's this year, though. I remember.
Like that is this year. Yeah, that just got a date. I want to say
because it's on my draft, and I was like, everyone thought this was going to come out because they were like, they said it. They kind of gave themselves that wiggle room. Yeah, so it's getting pretty stacked. So I'm going to say, yeah, that they have something to wrap it all up, even if they do end up revealing something like the Metroid Prime remaster in a tweet, which I don't think they would do, but at the same time, they were like, we have a new Kirby game. Now, granted, it's like a Kirby multiplayer game, so like, I don't know how good that game is gonna be, but they still did just drop that, and that is a big like IP that they have that they could have had in a direct. I try not to think too hard about, or get hung up on logic with Nintendo. I just go off vibes because that's what they go off of. So I'm going to say yes. I don't know if there's a lot more for the fall. Maybe I'd love to see maybe a little bit more like indie highlights, I think, for the fall are always beneficial. Maybe, I don't know, maybe one other thing that some from Donkey Kong would be cool. It's been kind of quiet on the Donkey Kong front, but not Donkey Konga, if possible.
Anything with Donkey
Kong. Be like, because that's like, isn't that classic Nintendo though? Yes, they do like, they're so good at having those little like teaser trailer things that kind of lead you in, but then they like bring you down the wrong path, and it's like, this isn't where I thought we were gonna end up. So I could see that happening actually. So yeah, we'll get a direct, highlighting Donkey Konga, obviously. What about you?
Of course. I think we'll get Nintendo Indie World showcase sometime, probably late August. They usually have one right before PAX West. And I don't remember the cadence in recent years because pandemic has kind of messed up a lot of release timing and even conventions and all that stuff. But I think going into PAX West, which is big for indie titles and indie games, showing off to the audience, and then also leading into the fall, I would expect there to be one of those in August. But for a pure Nintendo Direct, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get one for the rest of the summer. Like maybe we get one later in the year, like towards the winter time. But for now, we just got Kirby announced yesterday. We just got Bayonetta 3 release date announced today. Well, at this point, do you need a Nintendo Direct? If you have Metroid Prime as your thing to show off, just put in a tweet in the way that you put Bayonetta and a new Kirby game in a tweet.
But I think Bayonetta though did have her moment in the sun outside of this date. I don't think there's anything wrong with just being like, there's the date. Like it can be fun to have it in a direct or whatever, and you're always marketing. But like, I think I would imagine that the Metroid Prime Remaster would not be announced in a tweet, but like it could be. It wouldn't be that shocking either way, because it's like
Nintendo's such a weird company.
I gotta show Metroid while also making sure that it's not Metroid 4, like, which is kind of, it's hard to get that out quickly when you're like watching something, unless they just say like there's no Metroid 4 in this. But they don't really do a lot of that messaging either of like what isn't there. They're just like, well, look, the video's already scheduled. Like we don't really care about what you're talking about on Twitter.
My thing more so though is that if you had a Nintendo Direct happening, let's say in July or August, then why wouldn't you just hold the
I think it'd be fall though, is my thing. Like I think JakeBakesCakes is right in that. Probably not summer. I like your call out of the indie thing based on past cadences. I think that's like a good call out. But yeah, I think for something that isn't just an indie thing, probably the fall, if nothing else, to be like one big commercial for all your stuff, and then maybe like one or two things that are not from the big fall commercial.
That's more so my thing is I could see a Nintendo Direct happening in, let's say, late October, November, December range. And if that's the case, I think you're getting things announced for, in that case, next year, not the fall this year. And maybe that is a, hey, Metroid Prime is out now situation, but also do you do that for something as big as a Metroid Prime remaster?
I think they'd give it a date and kind of have that. If they did have that, it'd be like, there probably would be a date and maybe like, I don't know, Thanksgiving, Christmas-y time. That's like, typically, I feel like the time to push for that kind of thing. You're impulsively on, you show up to Black Friday even though there's no deals, just for the vibe, just to feel something, right? You pick up Metroid Prime.
Well, like in that case, do you get, if you're framing it as a Black Friday thing, do you not get ahead of it though and start promoting it around this time?
I don't think they end up promoting it way early because it's still Metroid, and like Metroid did sell super well in the last game, Dread. I blocked out the name because I had so much pain in that final boss, and in those freaking the little soldiers where there's 3 of them in just fucking different colors. I fucking hate that shit. Pissed me off so bad. I'm like, why am I fighting another one? It's the same guy. Like, anyway, yeah, like, that sold incredibly well, but at the end of the day, Metroid is still just not, it's not Mario, right? Like, and this is a remaster. It's definitely something that the fans want, that would sell well, that people, always complain that Metroid doesn't get enough attention and love from Nintendo. Like, but I think at the end of the day, it's not going to have, I mean, they didn't really even have much fanfare for when they ported sort of that, that Mario collection that they then pulled from the shelves. Like, they're kind of just doing stuff. Like, not to say they don't think about what they do or have intention, but I don't think they make quite a big deal out of something like this that maybe Sony or even Microsoft kind of does their old stuff differently anyway, but that someone else, another company might make a big deal about this. I don't think Nintendo's that company.
But that's also why I think you just drop it in a tweet. If it's even happening, I think that's the other thing is Metroid Prime Metroid Prime Remastered. There's talks of it possibly happening in the fall. That's not a given, right? Like plans change, things shift, and Nintendo does not give a fuck. And
it's also like one of those things where I'm like, how much is this a rumor, and how much is it just like we just keep saying that like maybe it'll happen? Like I don't know. There's definitely some
Metroid Prime specifically. I know Jeff Grubb was out there saying that there's plans for it, but again, like anything, right? That can shift, that can change. I think if it's real, you probably get it in a tweet, and then also in terms of the rest of the fall, right? If you're trying to fill that out, my big prediction / hope that is based on pure speculation and nothing else is that if there is a Nintendo Indie World showcase in August, I think that's where we could maybe get a Silksong release date for sometime this fall, and that is the other big hitter this fall. I think that'd be an amazing way to do it. But again, like the fall already is pretty decent for Nintendo. Honestly, it's pretty good for Nintendo if you're including the summer as well with Live Alive, Xenoblade.
It really like picked up like kind of out of nowhere. Like they're like, oh yeah, we have this really strong fall that like no one's really. I mean, not that no one's talking about it because they're talking about it now, but yeah, like out of nowhere, it feels like it just became stacked after being kind of a quieter year. Like Kirby was fantastic, and they did have Pokemon, but that was so front loaded into the year that there's been kind of this gap while we wait for fall to happen. But yeah, exciting stuff.
Janet, we're gonna hop into story number 3, but before we do, I want to let people out there know about patreon.com/kindafunnygames, where you can go and get the show ad free. And speaking of ads, let us tell you about our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by MeUndies. Are people still trying to make plans with you this summer as if you aren't booked and busy already? But thankfully, MeUndies wants to help make this summer the most comfortable one you will never forget, because when you're living your best life, the last thing you want to worry about is butt sweat. And I know that from experience, but you know what? MeUndies has always been there to help me. I'm always wearing my MeUndies shirts, my lounge pants, my lounge shorts, my undies themselves, the socks. I'm a MeUndies fanboy. Wouldn't have it any other way. I just absolutely love the soft micro-modal fabric. Find your ultimate summer comfort in sizes extra small all the way up to 4XL. MeUndies has a great offer for all of you out there. For any first-time purchasers, you can get 15% off. For a limited time, if you sign up for the free to join MeUndies membership, you get 25% off your first membership item. To get 50% off your order, 25% off your first membership item, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/kindafunny. That's MeUndies.com/kindafunny. Shout out to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this episode. When you use the bathroom, you always close the door behind you, right? Well, you don't want random passerbyers looking in on you, so why would you let people look in on you when you go online? Your internet service provider knows every single website you visit. ExpressVPN puts a stop to this. It creates a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet so that your online activity can't be seen by anyone. I use ExpressVPN on all my devices, whether it's my phone, my desktop, everything. Anytime I'm using the internet, just because I am trying to stay as safe as possible. The best part is using ExpressVPN is as easy as closing the bathroom door. You just fire up the app, you click one button, and you're protected. It is so easy. It's the biggest button in the world. One click, you're done. So if you're like me and believe your online activity is your business, secure yourself today by visiting expressvpn.com/kindafunny. You can use our link, expressvpn.com/kindafunny, and you can get an extra 3 months free. That's expressvpn.com/kindafunny. Shout out to Athletic Greens for sponsoring this episode. I started taking AG1 because I'm not a big pill guy. I don't want to spend a lot of time on extra things, but I wanted to make sure that I was taking care of my health. Now, I've been using it the last couple months and I love it. It doesn't taste like it's super healthy. It has a fun tropical taste that I actually look forward to in the morning. With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focused, and aging. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/kindafunny. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/kindafunny to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. athleticgreens.com/kindafunny.
Story number 3, Bandai Namco has been hacked. This comes from Jeffrey Rousseau at gamesindustry.biz. Monday, it was reported that Elden Ring publisher Bandai Namco was allegedly hit by ransomware group ALPHV. As per VGC, VX Underground, a platform which says it has the largest collection of malware source code, said that the hacker outfit, also known as Black Cat, admitted to the attack. Ransomware can obtain information from personal employee data, a firm's financial and game details. Hackers can use this as a means to extort money from victims, VGC added. Today, Bandai Namco has confirmed it was hacked and that it is investigating the matter. In a statement to Eurogamer, the Elden Ring publisher said a third party gained unauthorized access to, quote, the internal systems of several group companies in Asian regions, excluding Japan, end quote. The company added that customer information from the toys and hobby business in Asian regions, again excluding Japan, may have been affected. This information was stored in the affected servers and PCs, and Bandai Namco is currently exploring the scope of the damage. Quote, we'll continue to investigate the cause of this incident, and we'll disclose the investigation results as appropriate. We'll also work with external organizations to strengthen security throughout the group and take measures to prevent recurrence. We offer our sincerest apologies to everyone involved for any complications or concerns caused by the incident, end quote. These hacks suck, Janet Garcia.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen these happen a couple times, like even just throughout the last few years, and I'm sure we'll see more of it. The hope is that any information obtained or any of the additional snags that are created from this have as few victims as possible, and I think as few long-term effects as possible. Admittedly, this is one of those things where we're not going to necessarily get a lot more information unless something else, especially something consumer focused, comes as a result. When it's just internal, it's kind of just they acknowledge it and then we don't really know the other stuff because we don't work at those companies. And even if we did, there's only not all that information is going to necessarily be shared about every detail behind this. But yeah, I mean, you hope that it doesn't hurt the company or the publisher in a way that's too severe, and that people are, remaining, I think, safe is probably the most important thing, with the, of course, financial and asset aspect being a close second, especially because it's a business at the end of the day, right? So they want to protect all the information and all the stuff that they have going on there. But yeah, unfortunate situation.
Yeah, it sucks because most hacks of these nature are sucky and terrible hacks, right? But even within those, there are the fun ones where it's oh man, it sucks that the guy hacked, but also look at Armored Core and Elden Ring 2 and Dark Souls 5 and all this stuff that's leaking out of there. This seems like one of the non-fun ones where a lot of it seems more so, hey, here's financial information about a lot of the consumers that have maybe operated with Bandai Namco or bought their games in certain regions and shit like that. The stuff that's not fun and real shitty, and that's going to be used to hold them for ransom and shit like that. And so if you're one of these hackers, don't be doing that. That sucks. Be a better person. And then also, good luck to Bandai Namco on figuring this shit out. More sad news. Story number 4. Red Dead Online players are holding a funeral to mourn the game's death. This comes from Jordan Middler at Video Games Chronicle. Players are logging into Red Dead Online en masse today to mourn the death of the online western. Hashtag Red Dead Funeral trended briefly over the weekend as players prepared to log in today, July 13th, and celebrate the game and protest its winding down. This is in response to Rockstar stating that it plans to phase out major content updates for the game. Quote, today is the day the community is paying its respects to a game that many of us love and wish had gotten more love from Rockstar, read one of the hundreds of tweets from community members. Quote, so log in today and have a few beers at either Valentine or Blackwater Graveyard, hashtag Red Dead Funeral, hashtag Red Dead Online, end quote. The game will remain online for the foreseeable future, but Rockstar's internal focus on the game has lessened as it moves into full production of GTA 6. Janet, this is one of those sad stories in the way that the community is very sad about this game winding down, but then also really interesting and fun stories in the way that people are coming together to this in-game funeral and drink at the in-game bars. I love shit like this, even though in this situation it's under a sad circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cute for the community to come together in a way that it voices, I think, a sadness for a game that they really loved, and also in a way kind of has an underlying voicing of like wanting more from, you know, the team in terms of supporting the game without being toxic. I'm sure there's people, there are people that are going to be toxic about this, because there's people toxic about literally everything. But I think this is an example of like, hey, you know, it is what it is, and we kind of want to commemorate this because this is like how we're feeling about the situation. It's also, it's cool to hear this story from, I guess, a game that ever had real online support. Because for me, I've only like done stuff like this. I've never done anything like this specifically, like have a funeral or go to like an in-game bar. Again, I don't do a lot of like online multiplayer, like giant world stuff. But I did do a like long stream on the day that they were killing Mario from when they took down that little like collection, where I like played like a bunch of I think I played a little bit of all the games and just talked about how like it sucks that the Mario game is going to be gone from the stores. And then for not like as big of a deal, but I remember like for the last Splatfest, that being kind of a big thing as well, where you know, that game's still available. You can still play Splatoon 2 and everything, but it was like, okay, the final Splatfest, and they made a whole thing about it. We did the whole like all the stuff and the chaos versus whatever. And then later they like still had other ones, and then people were like, well, they said the last new one, but they like brought back old ones. It was just a whole weird thing. And now we're having 3. So like, I guess that's whatever, but we haven't had Splatfest in forever also. So it's nice to have a way to organize, I guess is what I'm saying, because I don't get that when I am on the Nintendo end of things. I just make my own stuff that I do by myself.
It's always wild to like hop into a online game towards its last days, especially if it's one that not many people are playing. I remember on PS2, I had Burnout 3, and Burnout 3 was one of the very few online games that I had, and I never really played the game online because as a kid I didn't even know how to set that shit up. And then one day I was like, yo, what if I take my TV in my PlayStation 2 down to the computer room and then plugged in my Ethernet? I wonder if that would just automatically start online for me. And it worked. And this was what, like 2000, maybe like 2008 or something like that, maybe like 2007. And I started playing Burnout online, and there were maybe 3 other people that were playing the game online at that point. But I remember doing a road rage mode and being like, this is fucking awesome. Like, I can't believe I never even thought to try and play this game online in this way. And it had this like kind of weird empty feel to it that I kind of liked, the fact that it was only a few of us. And then I did the same thing actually with Star Wars Battlefront 2 as well. And it was a similar thing where Star Wars Battlefront, more popular game, and there were quite a few like games up and servers open that I could hop into and hang out in. But it was this, oh, we're so far past when this is popular. And the people that are here are the people that really love this thing. Like, they're just doing the Jedi battles and all that shit. And there's like a cool atmosphere around it. Red Dead Online, I'm sure there's a similar thing where, of course, way more people are probably playing Red Dead Online than those games that I mentioned. But when you understand that compared to the other online communities that exist, Red Dead Online is such a not GTA Online, right? Like, if you're playing Red Dead Online, you are part of a community. Like, you are not part of like the mass audience for the thing. And you're going through this shit together. Going in there, role playing, hanging out at a bar, like all that shit sounds fun as hell. And it makes me want to salute the Red Dead Online players. And also, like, it makes me feel bad that Rockstar didn't support this game the way that it should have been supported. This should have been another hit. It is Red Dead, right? It is this vast, really cool world that they created, and it's for an audience that really, really digs this thing. I'm sure with a lot more support and thinking about it the right way, this is probably something they could have figured out. But the reality of it is probably that GTA Online makes them so much more money, and is so, at this point, way easier to monetize and figure out as opposed to Red Dead. And now that it is all hands on deck for GTA 6, that taking away the support for Red Dead, it's a bummer. But I salute to you, the Red Dead audience, because that's cool as hell. Story number 5. Twitter says that Genshin Impact and Wordle are the most discussed games of 2022 so far. This is Chris Scullion at Video Games Chronicle. Twitter has shared the most discussed games on its platform throughout the first half of 2022. According to the platform, Genshin Impact continues to be the game that most people tweet about worldwide, having been the #1 most tweeted about game throughout 2021 as well. The newest entry is web puzzle game Wordle, which didn't make the top 10 in 2021, but is now the second most tweeted about game globally. Other new entries didn't appear in 2021. That didn't appear in the 2021 list include Elden Ring and The Legend of Zelda. The full list is as follows, right? So again, these are the most tweeted about games in the first half of 2022. It goes like this: at number 10, Legend of Zelda. Number 9, Valorant. Number 8, Fate/Grand Order. And number 7, Elden Ring. Number 6, Apex Legends. Number 5, Project Sakai. At number 4, Final Fantasy. Number 3, Ensemble Stars. Number 2, Wordle. Then at number 1, Genshin Impact. Number 1 for the second year in a row. Janet, do these results blow you away?
The Wordle one kind of surprises me. I mean, a lot of people are playing Wordle, and I think Wordle has it's funny because like I guess Wordle is one of the, I guess probably the only, I guess in a lot of ways, games where it's a game that non-gamers play. Like I'm very confident that a lot of people playing Wordle would not consider themselves gamers. I'm more confident a lot of gamers wouldn't consider Wordle players to be gamers if they only play Wordle. But I mean, it is a game, so yeah, why not? So I guess that one is surprising for that reason. It's the most outlier one on this list.
I think the reason why that one is up there is the fact that part of Wordle is to tweet your results. And so if you remember when Wordle was starting to pop off amongst everybody, right? Like Twitter was filled with all of the blocks that would show your results. And I think that is the thing that propelled it to being number 2 on this list.
Yeah, I'm still playing Wordle. I actually forgot to play last night because I was so focused on just going to sleep after watching Miss Marvel, and then talking about Miss Marvel. But yeah, like I'm still playing Wordle. Like, are you still playing Genshin Impact? Like we're leading this. We're like, we are the community. You know what I mean? Like we're at the top of this list.
I'm not talking about this publicly, Janet.
Oh my god.
I think I've retired from Genshin Impact. I think I'm done with it. Oh my
god, the king is dead.
It's just such a grindy game. I put in about 40 hours, Janet Garcia, into Genshin Impact, and I'm still not at the place where people are like, oh, this is where the story gets good. They're like, no, you're going to get there. You're going to get there. You just got to go get these resources and get your XP up to this level and go do these quests for these guys. You'll get there. I'm like, I'm 40 hours in. If I'm not at the good shit, I don't know what to tell you, man. And like, I think it's part of that. And then also the fact that their game Zenless Zone Zero looks way more up my alley, and I'm actually really excited for that. And I kind of want to just conserve the energy that I have been putting into Genshin into that game instead, because I think in terms of aesthetic, that's going to appeal to me. I do like the Genshin Impact aesthetic a lot, but a big part of why I really like Genshin Impact is it's a comfort game for me that takes me back to playing Breath of the Wild, because it has a lot of those pulls in there, especially in terms of world design and just like the freedom of like, just hang out in this open world that is very much of this style and filled with like shit to pick and, characters to talk to and random puzzles to solve. Like, I like that as a comfort thing, but as an ongoing grindy make progression kind of thing, Genshin, I didn't really enjoy Genshin as much in that element of it. Who knows? I might say this now, and then a month later, you might see me log on to Genshin.
Well, here's the thing. Well, where are you playing it at, on PC or like what do you?
PS5.
Okay, so is it still installed?
Yes.
I think until you uninstall it. Let me know when you uninstall it. That's when it's going to be.
I don't uninstall shit.
The big. Well, now because you have the big space, right?
Yeah.
So now it just lives there. You don't uninstall anything. So when you're done with games, you just let them sit there.
Yeah.
That's bizarre to me. Can someone put a poll in the chat when you finish a game and you're done with the game? When you're done with the game, because maybe I finished it, but I want to platinum it or whatever. Maybe you're me with Horizon or something. When you're done with the game, do you delete the game? I'm guessing most people will say yes because of storage reasons only. But I'm shocked that y'all keeping these games. I only keep a few.
You keep it?
I mean, well, until recent, because I don't have the expansion, so now I have to delete stuff. And every once in a while, but like I'll keep games for really long. Like my PlayStation 4 Pro that I have right next to me, like has so many games in it.
Yeah, if I scroll through the amount of I have games that I have Vampire on this thing, and I downloaded that I think years ago and just never got rid of it. Like I have hella games on here, and I think a lot of these games just don't take up that much space. Like the bigger games are few and far between, and maybe those ones, like the games that are 80 gigabytes and shit like that. Maybe those ones I'll delete after a while, but usually if it's that big, it's a multiplayer game, and those I just want to keep because
you're gonna have to download it again eventually.
Yeah, I want to re-download Fortnite. Like I'm gonna play Fortnite probably, or I don't want to do the same thing with Rocket League or GTA Online or Warzone.
That's different though, because you're still playing those. You know what I mean? So you're telling me you got like Last of Us 2 on there?
But he doesn't. When's the last time you played Fortnite?
I mean, yeah, I play on stream every now
Like
and
a few
then.
weeks ago, yeah.
Probably a few weeks ago, but Warzone I haven't
yeah.
played in over a year, and that's still on there. And then single player games for the most part aren't that big. Last of Us 2, I think I might still have on here.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
wild.
But
I had no idea.
here's
Well,
the
the
thing.
poll's in the chat. The poll's in the chat.
Regarding Last of Us 2 though, that is on my USB like hard drive, not my internal storage. And so the storage that I'm rocking with, Janet, I have my PS5 internal storage, I have my expanded SSD storage, which is like 4 terabytes, and then I have my USB extended storage, which I think is also 4 terabytes. Actually, no, my SSD might be 2 terabytes. Either way, I got a lot of memory in this thing, so I'm not worrying about picking and choosing. I just
it's about keeping it clean to me is the thing.
Oh,
like you want to keep it as
that.
streamlined as possible.
I'm
anyway,
keeping my PlayStation dirty. Keeping everything.
Please continue. Please continue on with the show.
Story number 6: Nintendo Japan formally acknowledges same-sex marriage. This comes from Jeffrey Rousseau at GamesIndustry.biz. Nintendo Japan has updated its corporate social responsibility information section of its website, which now states that it recognizes same-sex marriage. As reported by Eurogamer, the introduction of a partnership system section says that as of March 2021, staffers in a same-sex marriage will have the same benefits as employees in an opposite-sex marriage. The company acknowledges that same-sex marriage is currently not legally recognized in Japan. Quote, although same-sex marriages are not currently recognized under Japanese law, this system ensures employees who are in a domestic partnership with a same-sex partner have the same benefits as employees in an opposite-sex marriage, the company said. Quote, we have also established that a common law marriage between couples will be observed in the same way as a legal marriage, end quote. It went on to say in its code of conduct, it prohibits all form of discrimination. Quote, by improving our company systems and conducting training, we'll continue our work to create an environment where each of our many diverse employees can fully realize their talents, Nintendo said. Good guy, Nintendo.
Yay, a good story from Nintendo. But I mean, in all seriousness, this is awesome. I mean, I think it's, at least for me, I feel like it can be inadvertently easy to forget that not everyone has the same rights across the world that feel like, oh, this should have happened already. So I think this is like a huge deal for a lot of reasons, especially because like obviously there's weight in marriage that goes beyond the legal side of things, but a big part of that is the legal side of things and the benefits that you can get and not having access to those elements. So for Nintendo to do this in spite of not needing to, or in terms of like legality at least, is a big deal. So yeah, hopefully that other companies follow suit, and that also like just things change with how Japanese law currently is.
Hell yeah. We got a couple of quick hits to close out the Roper Report. Story number 7, HBO's Last of Us gets a release window. This is Brad Lang at CBR. HBO's live-action adaptation of The Last of Us has a release window. Speaking to The Hollywood Reporter, HBO and HBO Max's chief content officer, Casey Bloys, revealed that fans of the beloved video game will need to wait a little longer for the show. According to the executive, The Last of Us will arrive closer to early 2023. So get hyped for that. And then story number 8, another quick hit. TMNT Shredder's Revenge has sold over 1 million copies, and that was announced via a press release. So congratulations, TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Janet, I can't wait for the Last of Us HBO show to see what it holds for me in early 2023. But early 2023 is just so far away. If I want to know what's coming out to mom and grab shops today, where would I look?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Out today, we got Rune Factory 5 for PC, Loopmancer for PC, and then The Tale of Biston for Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and PC. Due dates for you: Company of Heroes 3 is set to release on November 17th, 2022 for PC, and then Fault Elder Orb, the multiversal third-person action MOBA, queues up for full launch out of early access on the Epic Game Store Monday, July 18th, 2022. Deal of the day for you: Amazon Prime members can now claim over 30 free games until July 13th, including Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Grid Legends, Need for Speed Heat, Star Wars Jedi Academy, Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and Star Wars Republic Commando. Now it's time for kindafunny.com/you're-wrong, where you write in, let us know what we got wrong as we got it wrong, so we can correct it for those watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and listening later on podcast services around the globe. Kebabs writes in and says the other local Roku games are available on PS4, where 1 and 2 were remastered. And then Kebab says Midnight Carnival is the Halloween-themed entry, and it's much harder than the main game.
That's interesting.
If you're like me and Janet, and you love Halloween, some might say that you're Halloween royalty. You might want to check that one out. And so I will be playing Loco Roco Midnight Carnival.
Well, Janet is holiday royalty of all of the holidays. You know?
Oh, that's sorry, I apologize. That is true. You're the holidays are the czar of holidays.
I forget the exact
something
title.
like that. Yeah,
something like that.
I don't know if it's the czar, but
it's czar.
It's hard to remember all these fake titles, you know.
Of course,
she doesn't respect the titles. That's fucked
doesn't
up.
respect
I mean, that's how big Kevin. That's how big she is in the holiday lore, right? That she doesn't even.
She can't be.
She doesn't even fucking need to care, you know.
Someone in chat said the Sultan of Seasons. That wasn't it, but it might be better than what we had.
That might have been it.
No, that wasn't it, but that's very good.
It was something along those lines, though, like a czar, sultan, saltine cracker. Somebody figure it out. Somebody in chat. Keep throwing those out.
All right.
Tomorrow's hosts for Kinda Funny Games Daily are Greg and Tim. If you're watching this live on Twitch, after this is a sponsored Amazon stream featuring Andy playing Mass Effect. Actually, I don't even know if that's right. Let me double check.
No, that is
that right?
You know that.
Oh, heck yeah. Okay. Yeah. Look forward to that Amazon stream. Again, featuring Andy playing some Mass Effect. If you want to catch that stream later, you can subscribe to youtube.com/kindafunnyplays. Remember, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday live right here on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. We have a Patreon post show for those that are subbed at the silver level of patreon.com/kindafunnygames. So stick around for that. Otherwise, until next time, game daily.